Hello and welcome to another episode. I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander, and this is match 2 of Sheoldred, Unblockable Equipment, Rats, and Mill. How is everyone doing out there? I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're going to enjoy watching this video. Let's see how the game turns out. I've rolled the dice, and Unblockable is going to go first. I'm going to draw for turn. Actually, we're going to play a Mirrored Landscape, comes in tapped, and then we will pass. I'm going to admit right off the bat that in the way that Sheoldred in the first matchup had a really good opening hand, this is probably a suboptimal opening hand for Rats because draw for turn, yep, it's only a 2-land hand, and I kept it. Very stupid. The reason, though, is that there are a bunch of plays that I can do with just that 2 minute for at least, 3 turns in the vain hope that I draw a land. But I've learned time and time again, getting burned by the draw gods, you never start a game with less than 3 mana. But we'll see. I'm going to play a swamp for turn and tap it into a Nap Miser. It's a 1/1 rat shaman. Each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 1. That means every opponent now has a maximum hand size of 6, so they're all going to have to discard down on these turns, which that should help the rats. We're going to go ahead and pass, draw for turn, play a snow-covered island, tapping it into a Rune Crowd. A 0/3 landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 3 cards. Thankfully, I have 6 cards in hand, so I do not have to discard down anything. We're going to pass. Draw for turn over here. Also play a Mirrored Landscape, but that's going to bite me because I will need to discard something. As much as I don't want to, we'll get rid of the Evolving Wilds. And we will pass. Alright, untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play an island, tapping 2, and play Storm Chaser Drake. A 2/1 flyer. When it becomes the target of a spell you control, draw a card. Over here, I also have 6 cards, so I thankfully don't have to discard. We will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw. It is a land, so alright, look at that. A rarity in Magic. You actually drew into a land on the second turn. We're going to tap 2 and play a Rat Colony. 2/1, Rat Colony gets +1/+0 for each other rat you control, and you can have as many Rat Colonies in the deck as you want. I do have a 1/1 that can swing. It can only get through over there, but why not? We'll swing it, start First Blood. Boom, 39 damage, or 39 life. That's not 39 damage off of a 1-drop Nap Miser. I think that might be a broken card. We're going to go ahead and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play the snow-covered island, triggering Rune Crab. Everybody mills 3. I will tap 2 and play Enchantment Drowned Secrets. Whenever you cast a blue spell, target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we don't have to discard. And of course, Rune Crab being a 0/3 means it really can't attack. So we're going to go pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play a swamp. And tapping 2 to play Elderfang Disciple. So 1/1, when it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. So we're just lowering everybody's hand sizes left and right over here. Well, we'll discard a land over here. I'll discard Countermand over here. And I guess we'll get rid of Vona's Hunger over there. That's all we can do. We will pass. Well, let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No need to discard. Over here, we untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Playing Evolving Wilds over here, cracking it to get an island tapped onto the battlefield, which was actually the next card in the line, so that's good to get rid of that. Oops, looks like I forgot my light. I don't think that really did too much, but I have a little ring light on the table I forgot to turn on. Okay, now we will tap 2 and play our commander. Tetsuko Umezawa Fugitive. 1/3. Creatures with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. Good old flying Storm Chaser Drake rather, can go pretty much anywhere. I don't believe anyone has flying, but it could definitely go anywhere now because it's unblocked. Let's see. You made me discard, and you lowered my maximum hand size. I don't like either one of those. But you made me mill. So yeah, we're going to swing the two at you. But it's all we can do. Unfortunately, we'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play Swamp, tapping all three for this commander. Karumonix, the Rat King, a 3/3 with Toxic 1. Other rats you control have Toxic 1. And look at the top 5 cards of your library. Well, when he enters the battlefield, rather. Look at the top 5 cards. You may put any number of rats from your hand, reveal them, and put them in your hand. The rest go on the bottom in any order. Alright, I have 2 rats in that first top 5, and a bunch of lands, so that's actually pretty cool. Put the lands on the bottom. The 2 rats go in my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do not have to discard down. And it's time to go swinging. I think, just like everybody, we're going to swing both of them at Mill. Now, it's a feel bad for me because I like Mill and it's a good deck, but it is just such an instant target. You sit down and say that you're having it. People see Bruvac, they just attack you. It doesn't matter whether you're doing anything or not. He is doing things, of course, and he's going to continue to mill them every land minimum. But the point is, it's real hard for Mill to actually win because you just have to hit the right cards real fast, or else you're going to get beat down. So I've got a 2, 3, 4, 1, and a 1, 1 coming in. I can block. Wait, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to block the Gnat Miser, but we're going to take 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Reason being, I can't kill, even though it is just a 1 toughness. Rune Crab has a 0/3, so it can't even kill it, and it would destroy the Rune Crab, and that's the biggest thing we've got on the board state over there to help Mill do its job. That is everything we can do over there. One rat does get through, which all the rats have Toxic 1. So boom, we bring in our poison counter, our cool thing that we got from Baltimore's Command Fest. And now this has 1 poison counter. We're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play a land. Everybody mills 3. Ooh, could have used that Soul Ring and that land. Oh, not me. Oops, well, unfortunately, I just saw the cards, so I'll have to put them on the bottom. That was me being stupid. Unskilled, I dang tell you. Now I say this, but of course, that means it's going to be jinxed, and when I edit the previous video or this video, I'm going to realize I'm wrong. But the main crux of this channel was for me to get better at Magic and to get my decks better. And I actually believe that's working. I feel like I am catching my mistakes faster and maybe making less of them. I'm remembering triggers more and I'm remembering the rest of the board state a little better. Now, that's not to say that I'm not screwing up, obviously. I foolishly milled myself for 3, but in the last game, I was missing triggers, and actually it was just sort of a sloppy game in the beginning because I was just trying to go a little too fast and was just forgetting things. But luckily I caught them within a turn and was able to adjust for them without trying to rewind everything. So I consider that progress, honestly. Also, that's the mill. I tap 3 to play Bruvac. Grandiloquent. It's a 1/4. If an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill twice that many instead. That will trigger Drowned Secrets because it's a blue spell. Target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. You're hitting me for Toxic. I don't like that. So you're going to mill 2, which with Bruvac out becomes 4. Okay, but that's all we can do there. No need to discard. Even with Gnat Miser out, we're going to pass. Untap. Upkeep for turn. Play a Swamp. And yeah, tapping the 2 swamps to crack Mirrored Landscape to put 2 basic land cards that share type onto the battlefield tapped. Swamp and Swamp. A little bit of semi-mana ramp, and I'm going to pass turn to turn 4 right now. Untap, upkeep, draw, return. Ooh, quick check here. Nope, no need to discard over there. play a land for turn. And I think we're going to do the same thing. I think we're going to tap 2 and sacrifice this mirrored landscape to do a little ramping over here as well. Land and land come in tapped, 2 islands. All right, move to combat again. We're going to go ahead and swing to add you now. 1, 2. Nope, 2 I said. But that's all we can do there. Pass. Untap. Upkeep. Draw for turn. Yep, no lands, so that does not help much. But we're not doing too bad considering that we're not getting lands and we milled a bunch. We're going to tap 1 for Typhoid Rats, which is one of the ones we got off of Karamonix's ability. It's a 1/1 Death Touch. And then we're going to tap 1, 2, even more important, to play Piper of the Swarm. A 1/3. Rats you control have Menace. You can pay 2 and tap it to create a black rat creature token, and you can pay 4 and tap it to sacrifice 3 rats and gain control of target creature. Now, not only do my rats all have Toxic 1, they have Menace, which makes it far more difficult to block them. We're going to move to combat, and I'm going to swing all 3 of them at mill, because now with Brew back out, that land drop Rune Crab trigger is going to be 6 mills for everybody, and any blue spells are going to be 4, so we don't want that. Plus, Brewback did hit us for 4 with that, I believe. Now, each one of these has Menace. You do have 2 creatures, but that means you can only block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is now a 5/1, a 3/3, and a 1/1. Now, in this position, what would you guys do if you were defending player mill? Because you have to use both creatures to block just 1 rat. Obviously, you're probably going to want to block the rat colony because it's the biggest. You can take 1 and even the commander damage. You'll get 2 poison counters no matter what you do. But you can't really kill. Well, by doing that, you will be able to kill the giant rat colony. But it will definitely kill Brewvac in the process. From your perspective, you have 1 more land in your hand, just so you can think about it. So you would not be able to recast Brewvac on the next turn, unless you drew a land. But that would be, you can't count on that. I guess that's what we're going to have to do. I guess you got to try and play it smart, because you can't just take 9 full damage plus 3 poison counters and 3, including 3 commander damage. It feels like too much, right? So we will stack block the rat colony. Brewvac will kill it, but we'll take 4 damage on Brewvac and 1 damage on the Rune Crab. So Brewvac will die. He will cost 2 more to cast. The rat colony dies, and then they will take 4 damage and get 2 more poison counters up to 3. That is the end of combat. We will move to our end step and pass. Over here, we untap, upkeep, draw for turn. It is not a land. We play the land in our hand. Every opponent mills 3. Oh, swamp and 2 rat colonies. That hurts. Nope, don't mill that again. Okay, there's really not much we can do. We have a couple cards that'll do some milling, sort of, but they're really not. There's not much point in doing it without Brewback out. So we'll hold off. We'll pass. Untap over here. Upkeep, draw for turn. Play a swamp, and let's see if Sheoldred can start wrecking some stuff. We're going to tap 3 and 4 total to play Sheoldred, the Apocalypse. 4/5 Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever your opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. No real point in swinging our little 1/1 Elderfang, so we will pass. We untap, upkeep, draw for turn, take 2 damage. Play a swamp. Going to tap 2 for Blade of Selves. I love this card. It was in Kemba, but then a friend who's been on the channel, Dell, he reached out and reminded me that doesn't work that way, because it has equipped creature has mirrored, which means whenever that equipped creature attacks, for each opponent other than the defending player, you may create a token that's a copy of the creature that's tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control. Exile the tokens at the end of combat. But because Kemba is a legendary, the legendary rule would kick in with that. so I had to take it out. But it felt like this was a great deck to put that in as a replacement. It does have a hefty price of 4 for equipment, which I will now pay onto the Storm Chaser Drake, which gives me a trigger because when it becomes the target of a spell I control, which it now is, I draw a card. Woohoo! I will go to combat. I will swing it in the air. It doesn't really matter at who, but we're going to swing it at Bruvak. That triggers the Mirrored, which means another Storm Tracer Drake appears and attacks you, and one attacks you. You're all just taking 2. But hey, that's cool. I will have to look up the whole Mirrored thing because I don't know if it. I would have to assume that if I bump up the Drake with all kinds of equipment, that would. Well, I don't. And that's the thing. Does it carry over the equipments? Because why would it? It just says whenever this creature attacks, or whenever it attacks, for each opponent, you make a create a token that's a copy of that creature. It doesn't say everything attached to it as well. So I will have to look that up because that seems just crazy good. Because if I load this up with like a whole bunch of like an extra 10 damage of equipment and swing it, now everybody's taking that. But then again, why? You obviously this was something you would put on a giant creature. You would put it on like an 8/8 with trample or a 10/10 Eldrazi or something so that you make them attacking everybody. So there's definite value in this card, even if it doesn't carry over equipments, which I really don't think it does. But anyway, we did our damage. We're going to pass. Untap over here. Upkeep, and we're going to draw. Hey, it's a land. That's cool. I will play said land. Well, this seems fun. We're going to tap 4 to play Whip of Arrows. Creatures you control now have lifelink. And you can pay 4, tap it to return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile at the next end step. If it would leave the battlefield, exile instead. Blah, 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 blah. Word soup. I don't care. The important part is all of my little rats are now Toxic 1, Menace, and Lifelink. Way to go, rats. And that one has Death Touch. Oh, of course, he doesn't have all that stuff because he is not. He does get the lifelink because he's a creature I control. He doesn't get anything else because he's not a rat. Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, you definitely. Now, of course. Oh, wait a second. Sorry. Take 2 damage here. I did take the 2 damage there because it was the first damage they took, so we're not far behind. However, Sheoldred is on the battlefield. That's a concern. We've got Unblockable. But if they get, another land out and get Bruvak back out, blah, blah, blah. So it's going to be a lot more mill. I think we just go again. I think we swing these guys at you, and since they all have Menace, they all get through. And you're going to get 3 poison counters. So it's going to be 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you get 3 more poison counters up to 6. That's pretty awesome. We're going to go ahead and pass. Untap over here, upkeep, draw, take 2 damage. Okay, it is a land though. We'll play the land, opponent's mill 3, and then we're going to go ahead and try for it. We will tap all 5 to recast Bruvak. He is a blue spell, so target player is going to put the top 2 cards. Let's see, when you cast, so it's not going to see that. Oh, did I do that last time? I may have done that last time. Shoot. I did, in fact, do that. So we screwed up. We should not have milled an extra 2 cards over here on the rats, so that's my fault for missing it because it's a cast trigger, not enter the battlefield trigger, so Bruvak didn't see it when it happened the first time. And it's not seeing it this time. So we're only milling 2. So you know what? To make up for it, we're going to say we're targeting you. We're going to mill 2, but whoop, there we go. I didn't actually do it, but that catches us up. And now we are actually correct in the mill. It probably would have affected card draw a little bit, but we'll just let it go. Because it's my channel, gosh darn it, and I can do that. However, there's nothing else we can do. We're going to pass. As you can see, Bruvak is not designed for combat. Maybe that's something I should look into. I don't know. I don't think it makes sense to. But what about you? Do you have mill decks? Do you put a bunch of big creatures in there to block and to do things? Because There are creatures that mill in there. I'm just not hitting them. So we untap, we upkeep, we draw, we gain 2 life over here. I'll play Obscura Storefront. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it. When you do, go for a Plains, Island, or Swamp, and you gain a life. I will go get a Swamp onto the battlefield tapped. Little deck thinning, but it's also better than a lot of the other cards that do that because it does gain you a life. And again, this is just my personal choice. I do find the value in deck thinning with Terramorphic Expanse, Mirrored Landscape, all these kind of cards. I think they work. I think they have fun and are valuable. We're going to tap 4 mana to play Fate Unraveler. Let's kick this up a notch, boyos. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Fate Unraveler deals 1 damage to that player. Now they're taking 3 damage per cards they draw. We could attack with Sheoldred. See, I'm tempted to go after rats because they're gaining life with all that now. And they're probably not going to block with the Piper because then they would lose the menace aspect. However, we don't really want to draw too much more attention from rats since we're already going to be smacking them for 3 damage every time they draw. And on their next attack, they'll just gain 5 life back again, most likely. Or close to it. Yeah, why not? We're going to try and be aggressive this game, like we always are saying last few matches. 4/5 with Death Touch coming at you. You're not going to sacrifice the Piper. 1, 2, 3, 4. We will then pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn, take 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. Play a land for turn. Excellent. You tap 1, 2, 3 for Eternal of Harsh Truths. A 1/3 with Afflict 2, which means if it comes blocked, the blocking player loses 2 life. And whenever it attacks and isn't blocked, draw a card. Thanks to our commander, it can't be blocked, so that's a good card draw. Although, oh yeah, card draw's bad now. So that's dumb. We won't play that. Because I was about to play, yeah, very dumb. I have 2 really good cards in here, but they both draw cards on attack. And it's like, well, yeah, now then we'll die instantly, practically. All right, so we're gonna go for something different. We're gonna play Viral Drake, a 1/4, flying with Infect, and you can pay 4 rather, to proliferate. So now, a la Megatron and Beast Wars, Infect is no longer your advantage prime. Which that's a paraphrasing because he was talking about flying. If you're a true Transformers nerd, you know that one. But regardless of my wee little joke there that no one's laughing, the point is now we can put Infect on everybody and start proliferating everybody but ourselves. I am tempted to also move the Mirrored Sword onto Viral Drake at that point because then it would do Infect to everybody in the air because no one else has flying. So that could be a way for Unblockable to win right now. I can't do it with the mana I have open, unfortunately, but what I will do is tap 2 for Flibbity Bibbits. That's not how you say it, but that's how I say it, and I don't care. It's like, I've heard someone say it earlier today, but it's Flibbith the Lost. He's the 1/1. When he enters the battlefield, I do draw a card, but I will take it. 1, 2, 3. And then he becomes the target of a spell. Shuffle him into the owner's library. We're going to move to combat. We're going to swing. Storm Chaser at you makes copies that hits everybody. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Pass. Untap. Upkeep. Draw for turn. Take 3 damage. Play a Swamp for turn. Good. That's helpful. 1, 2, 3 for Septic Rats. So 2/2 with Infect. More Infect. And whenever it attacks, if defending player is poisoned, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Then we tap 2 for another Rat Colony. Rats is doing pretty well this game. I like to see it. Okay, Piper's not going to really ever attack, so we'll put that down here with the 2 Summoning Sickness. And then we've got the Whip that's doing its whippy things. Whip, as it were. All right, we're going to move to combat. Now, everyone does have 2 available creatures, so they can block 1 thing at least. Now, 3 damage is a big deal, and you having Infect is a big deal. But you do have Brewback out, so that could be a 1 card you win on your turn if you hit that Mad Naked Cacophony, although I don't think we have enough mana for it. So I guess we just keep plowing ahead as we were. All 3 at you. You can kill one of these 2 things. Technically, he does have 3 commander damage already. I really don't think the commander damage is going to be what kills him. We'll just put it down here, just to be safe in case it does for some reason. Because I'm thinking he's going to let the commander damage through again. Because there's no point in not... you might as well kill something. Brewvac can kill either of these 2 things. We're going to block this because we don't want the Death Touch hitting Brewvac and we can't recast it again. So we'll stack block this thing. It'll deal 1 damage to Brewvac, and Brewvac will kill it. So now everyone's maximum hand size goes back to what they were. Not that it mattered, but it's still a cool card. Then 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you get 2 more poison counters. You, my friend, are at 8. 2 more poison counters, and you lose. Now these rats are up and ready. We did have the life link, so that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn, take 3 damage. Not looking good. We will play a land for turn, which does finally hit the big money numbers. So we're going to mill everybody for 3, but Brewvac makes it 6. Well, I don't believe that Brewvac can survive. I have a really good card for this deck, but it's not going to have the time to work. It's an artifact that I have to have. It has to. I don't have I have enough mana, just barely enough mana to play it, not enough mana to activate it, which would still wouldn't really kill anybody anyway, but it'd still be a cool effect. So we will just do this instead. We're going to tap 1, 2, 3 and play Tasha's Hideous Laughter. However, when I cast a blue spell, target player puts the top 2, now top 4 cards of their library into their graveyard. That's going to be you for sure, because you're going to kill us. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until that player has exiled cards with total mana value 20 or more. Now, it doesn't get doubled in any way by Brewvac because it's exile, not mill, which is, of course, milling is going to your graveyard from your library. But that doesn't include lands, so if you hit like a big stretch of lands, they just get exiled. So we're going to start over here because it's easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 and 5 is 19. And boom, Dictate of Erebos puts it well over. So these are exiled. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. One of the bad downsides of having a lot of low cost spells, that hits harder. Over here we've got land. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Big one there. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, that did some damage, and Brewback did some damage this game. Unfortunately, it just wasn't fast enough. You definitely want to see 1 or 2 mana rocks early to speed up the mana on this side so that you can just dump Brewback early and start hitting a lot of different mill spells. And we also needed to have more draw. I wasn't getting any draw. Pass. Untap. Upkeep. Draw for turn. We gain 2 life. We play a Swamp for turn. Going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4 to play Thran Dynamo. I will tap Thran Dynamo and 1 Swamp. Play Mage Hunter. It's a 3, 4. Whenever an opponent casts or copies an instant or sorcery spell, they lose 1 life. That one's going to be tricky to remember, but It really would only hurt them because they've been playing nothing but creatures and artifacts. They're playing pretty much nothing but creatures. Ruvek's the only one that would actually drop instants and sorcery, so it doesn't really matter that much. Nothing we can do. I mean, we could attack. We probably should attack. Okay, so they've got an infect, and they're going to have an infect too. It's kind of, I'm not even sure. I should attack somebody with my Sheoldred Death Touch 4/5, but I really don't know what the best target is. Go with either one, they're just going to block. Nobody can kill Sheoldred, which is great, but is it really going to do much? And it's going to leave me open. And with those things having Menace, having two creatures and two, I don't think we want to break up that pairing. So we're going to go ahead and pass. So over here, untap, upkeep, draw for turn, take 3 damage, play an island for turn. All right, we're going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4 to equip this onto the Viral Drake. Then tap 2 to play Cloak and Dagger. I don't have enough to equip it, unfortunately, because I would like to equip it onto the Viral Drake. But we will tap 2 for Ghostly Pilferer. Okay, everybody can attack except for Ghostly Pilferer. Not much damage, though. So obviously we're going to swing Viral Drake at whoever, because again, no one has flying, correct? Yes, no flying. So Viral Drake will attack you, making 2 copies of itself, hitting everybody. So now everybody's going to have a poison counter. But just 1. That does suck for you, my friend, because you are now at 9. And everyone else is at 1. I know for a fact that in past games I've probably done it wrong, where I've like taken oh yeah, you take 1 damage from the infect and lowering. I keep forgetting that the true definition of infect is that if it hits a creature, it just gives that creature -1/-1 counters for each infect, each damage of infect, and it gives damage to players in the form of poison counters. It doesn't do 1 damage, it gives you 1 poison counter because it's a 1 toughness or power. If it was a 5 power, it would give you 5 poison counters. You wouldn't take damage. That is something I always forget about. I will, of course, also send the Storm Chaser Drake out as well. Like I said, I can send everything out because they're all unblockable. But again, we've got the rats coming around. And I think I'll send the rats at you. Or not the rats, the Storm Drake at you. Just because we want to get some extra damage in there. That's all we can do. There's no end effects or anything, so we'll pass. All right, we're going to untap. Upkeep, draw for turn. Take 3 damage. Ah, this is definitely something we want to do. And it's something I should have done prior. Well, no, I believe we used all of the mana. Yes, we did. We definitely used all of our mana. So we couldn't have done it before anyway. But we'll do it now, gosh darn it. We're going to play tap 3 for Soul Shatter. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the highest converted mana cost among creatures and planeswalkers they control. So the highest converted mana cost is going to be that blows up because you have to sacrifice it. That blows up because you have to sacrifice it, now costing 4 extra. And, see, it's either one, so we'll do the Fate Unraveler, of course, because it's 1 damage versus, oh no, actually, this is also a 4, so we'll sacrifice that. Smart move there. I will pay 2 and tap the Piper of the Swarm to make a rat. I didn't even really think about that, so I don't have rat tokens in there right now, so that'll be it. But it just makes a 1/1 rat. It's time to KO somebody. The nice thing is, because he has got 1, we only have to send 1 rat in your direction. And we're just going to send the Typhoid rats because it hits, it gives you 1 toxic, you die. The last 3 guys are going to be going in what direction? Okay, the rat colony is a 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a 6/1. So that's definitely going to be swinging in your direction because that's a lot of damage. And we'll go ahead and send the septic rats your way as well, because you have a poison counter, so it's going to be 3/3. I will hang back with the Rat King because obviously we don't want to lose the Toxic 1 ability. All right, so declaring blockers, you can't block because you have Menace. You're going to take the 1 damage. That is actually 1 damage, but Toxic 1 then puts a 10th poison counter. Kaboosh, you are dead, my friend. Nice try, nice try. Over here, I have 2 creatures coming, but I only have 3 creatures to block. Ooh, that's true. That 6/1 can blow up either one of my really good creatures, and I can't block with just 1. The thing is, like, I could just block with this and it would kill the rat colony, yay, but I'd have to block with something else, and the rat colony's damage would obviously would kill both of those creatures. Or I could take 6 damage, which is also not good. And that's going to be, actually, I don't know, that's a lot, because let's think about this, right? If I let him go through, that's 2, however you say it, 2 toxic damage. But this is also an infect creature, so then that would be 2 more poison counters. So it would be 4 poison counters off of 1 hit, already jumping up to 5. And it would be 8 damage. I guess Sheoldred has to take a gamble and be like, can I draw into or play draw spells on rats over here to make them kill themselves with damage? I don't know. I don't think there's anything good in the hand right now. We don't have any draw spells. It's gonna be bad. But you know what? Sheoldred is gonna be cocky. He's gonna be like, screw it, I'll take it. I don't care. So we go up to 5 toxic damage, and we're gonna take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. Not good. But that's what it is. And we pass. Alright, Sheoldred. Show him what you got. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. That's not good. 1, 2, draw, or gain 2 life. Play the Riveter's Overlook I just drew, which will deck thin, but I don't think I'll survive too much longer. Get another swamp on the battlefield, shuffle. Going to tap 2 swamps and Thran Dynamo, floating 2 colorless mana to play Arboreal Flow. Each opponent discards 2 cards, and if you have a vampire, something happens, but I don't have a vampire. So each opponent discards 2 cards. Unfortunately, they only have 2 cards. And they also only have 2 cards, but they weren't very special. I will then use that 2 floating colorless plus 2 black mana to play Court of Ambition. I now become the monarch. At the beginning of my upkeep, each opponent loses 3 life unless they discard a card, and if you're the monarch, they lose 6 life unless they discard 2 cards. Now, obviously, we need to start swinging. For real. For realsies, guys. For realsies. Alright, so you get a 3/3 and a 1/1 up. We've got a 4/5 and a 3/4, so let's just swing them both your way. Regardless of how you block, both of your creatures would die. You definitely don't want to have your commander go. Although, yeah, well, you have just enough to recast it. So you know what? I think you will. You'll block, doesn't matter which way you go. It's all the same response. I'm not sure if you can see that, it's off screen. There's that, and this little token dies. Okay? Nothing else we can do, unfortunately, we're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw my 1 card for turn, take 3 damage, play the land. Although, you know what, I don't think I will play the land because Court of Ambition says unless they can discard cards. So we're going to keep that up so we can discard a card. We no longer have the infect or the ability to do things with that infect. So we're going to tap 4 to equip Storm Chaser Drake with the Blade of Myriad again, and then tapping 3 to also now give it Cloak and Dagger, which now means it's Shroud and it can't be targeted spells or abilities, my own included, so you want to do those other equipments first, which we thankfully did. and it gets +2/+0. So it is now a 4/1. As we earlier surmised, Mirror does not copy anything about the creature except for the baseline creature itself and the power and toughness. Meaning, whenever, it doesn't matter if I have 50 million equipments on here making it a 100, it will only, the copies will only be 2/1 Drakes. The only way you can buff the copies would be if I had like a static on the field that was like your creatures get +1/+1, like Glorious Anthem or something. If there was a blue version of that, then those tokens would still be your creatures, so they would get the buff. But other than that, nothing else can really alter them, which is what we originally thought. So we, as in you and myself and everyone watching and stuff, because we are a team here, we were right. We're going to go to combat. We're obviously going to swing Storm Chaser Drake. Question is, which one are we swinging? I don't like all the damage I'm taking from you, but the rats are a threat, especially since you're getting lifelink. But you're going to have to use all your mana just to get your commander back out and give them. But the toxic is also a very big concern, especially since now I have no way to proliferate the toxic I gave you. All it takes is for them to get one good draw spell, even if it's just a single target draw spell, they can take somebody out. But I think we go at rats. I think we're sending the main Storm Drake, which is a 4/1 in the air at you, so you take 4 damage. And then you're going to take the copy, which is just 2. I could send some other stuff, and you know what? I will. I will also send this 2/1 at you. Might as well balance it out, I guess. Because I had 3 creatures, I wouldn't be able to block anything more than 1 rat anyway, so you might as well use that one. And again, in real Magic, you are declaring all your attackers at once. You don't do this. So I should watch that because I don't want to train myself to do it that way. And then, have to get embarrassed and have people call me out when I'm playing a real game. Like, you can't, hey, you didn't say that originally, because people will do that, and justifiably, I suppose. All we can do, there's no after effects. We're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw a card for turn, take 3 damage. We will keep that in our hand just because we kind of have to anyway. And like we said, we will tap 3 and then tap 2 for the attack to replay our commander. Okay, moving to combat. I don't like what you're doing, but you're still real little creatures. I'm not going to worry about you too much. You're the threat. We're going to send everything at you, which could very well be close to game because everything's got toxic 1, so that'd be 1, 2, 3, and then this is infect, so 4, 5. Yeah. See, I should have left one of the creatures up. Foolish. But them's the breaks. That's what happens when you don't pay attention to the math, people. And you cried in school and said math is bogus. I'm never going to use it. You use it right here in the game of Magic. So there you go. Yeah. He can't block anything, so they all get through. It's technically 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage, 6 actual damage. 1, 2, 3 toxic, 4, 5 infect. Boom, that puts you at 10. You are dead, my friend. Sorry about that. Okay, it's down to the 2 little guys. We pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. We don't take damage anymore. Fortunately, a land, and I have a land in my hand. Now I got rid of all my draw spells, so we are not in a good place. Looks like they're going to hit us. Let's see. Well, because, hang on, how much did I use? Did I even tap anything? Obviously the creatures were tapped. What did I tap over here land-wise? Did I have lands tapped? Yes, okay, I tapped 4 to equip that and then 3 to equip this. Okay, so that's good. Because, again, a little bit of a fudge because we're like, but because we no longer have to worry about the damage off of drawing, when Ghostly Pilferer becomes untapped, you may pay 2, which I will do on the untap step. So it's untap, untap, I pay for it, and I draw a card. Then I draw a card for turn, which was the land I drew. Whatever, I don't care which way. Then, so I do have 2 less mana to play with, but I drew a card. It's okay, I guess. I can't do anything else. Tap 4 to play Decimator Web. It's an artifact I can pay for and tap it. Target opponent loses 2 life, gets a poison counter, then puts the top 6 cards of the library into their graveyard. So it's a pretty baller card to have, especially in an Infect deck, which this actually is not. You've seen 2 pieces of Infect, but that's kind of it. I think there's 1 or 2. I know there's a Blighted Agent, which is an unblockable natively, 1/1 with Infect. And then I think there might be 1 or 2 other like colorless creatures that are Infect in here. Mainly because they have power and toughness. One of them is 1. That's the whole point of the deck. Well, at least nothing else. We have mana up to to do the whole untappy thing. So we're gonna go to combat. Thankfully, we don't have any poison counters yet. However, we don't want to swing in everything because it would be irrelevant. We're gonna swing this and this, so we can block 1 creature on the crackback and see what happens. So it's 2, 3, 4 damage, 5, 6. 6 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The mirrored doesn't happen because there's no other targets, so there's no other opponents. We will then pass. I like this because Unblockable and Rats have not done the best in their respective prior games. So I like the fact that they're the last cards, last deck standing, so to speak. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. We're going to tap 2 for a rat colony. We're going to tap 3, Herald's Horn, declaring rats. Creatures of the chosen type have cost 1 less to cast. I should have done that in the other order, but who cares? At the beginning of your upkeep, look. Oh, that's why. I should, again, for the bajillionth time, read your cards, people. I keep thinking Herald's Horn is a buff spell that, off of creatures like, oh, rats get +1. No, rats cost less. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you can look at the top card, and if it's a rat, or whatever creature you chose, you can reveal it and put it in your hand, and then draw a card. So, very cool card, but it's not going to, drastically change the game immediately. And we would just have 1 extra mana up, no cards in hand. Nobody uses 1 mana to do anything, so it doesn't matter. But what does matter is it's combat-y time. 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them coming at you. You can only block 1 of them. I have a 1/1 and a 1/3, but that is my commander, which we kind of need. Although that's flying. Not overly concerned. But yeah, we're definitely going to stack block the Infect because we don't need extra poison counters. So that dies. It gives a -1/-1 to this, and that dies, and then a -1/-1 to this. So now, technically, Tetsuko is a 0/2 from now until the end of the game. So there's no point in swinging that card at all now. But everything else does get through. 3, 4. Oh yeah. And of course, damage happens at the same time, so that septic rat is still here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 3 poison counters for you. Command. Okay, that's everything we can do. Pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Oh, come on, man. Land, and all I have in my hand is a land. Untap, yeah, at the untap step, I pay 2 to draw a card. Okay, well, it's not a land at least. I will then tap 2 to play Riptide Pilfer. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. It's a 1/1. So again, I will have 2 more to use to block, but we've got a Death Touch and we've got 2 rat colonies that are going to be huge. By stack blocking, I can kill one of the giant rat colonies, but obviously my Tetsuko does. But then again, you know what? I got more than enough mana to recast it, so that's not a concern. We're definitely going to go, well, first of all, we are going to tap 4 and tap this to make you lose 2 life, get a poison counter, and then Put the top 6 cards of your library into your graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Lots of mill going on in this game. It's pretty fun. We will then go to combat, swinging these 2 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a close game, folks. I like it. No end step triggers. We left mana open to do the card draw thing. This is tapped. But that's all we can do. We're going to pass. I don't know. It's anybody's game of these 2 characters. We untap. Upkeep, draw step, upkeep trigger rather. It is not a rat, so we draw it for turn. It's a land, we play it. Doesn't help us. Haha, but we can do that. We will tap 4 and tap with Averbos to do its ability, which says return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. All right, we want something big, I think. Well, not I think. We want something big. However, I'm not sure that we really have anything other than just getting a rat colony that would just... It's probably just going to be a rat colony, to be honest with you. Especially since it's going to leave at the end. Yeah, we'll just do that. So this rat colony is going to die at the end step, but it comes in and has haste and buffs all the other rat colonies, and so it's going to be crazy big. Okay, not crazy big, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, because something died. Darn it. It's not even any bigger, but we do have 3 of them. And a death touch, and so that is 6, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 damage coming at you. You can only block one of them, so let's say you block this rat colony, which would be smart because you don't want to block the one that's going to die anyway. So that is 12 damage. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Wow. Look at that. Exact damage necessary. I hope I didn't make any mistakes, but that's pretty impressive. So these block, this dies, these will both die. To the command zone, cost more, doesn't matter. Exactly 16 damage gets through. Oops. Kaboosh. There you have it. Rats winning a game. Very proud of them. I would have liked to have seen Unblockable do better, win, but Unblockable did very well. I'm pleased with that. You can see where I was going with Unblockable. I know it can get there a little bit better. I still need to work on it. Not sure how, but I know I can do it. Mill and Sheoldred both performed admirably, considering. Actually, not even considering. They did fine. Would have been better had they both been faster because the episode is a little longer than I would have liked, but still around an hour, I believe. Probably just under an hour. Which I'm also pleased that I've been able to knock my average time down to about an hour. Because if any of you unfortunately watched like the first 30 episodes on the channel, they're crap. I do not recommend you go back and watch them. Not to be self-deprecating, just being honest. I mean, unskilled in the most literal way. Like, I was making constant mistakes. Whenever I would go back and watch them, I was like flipping out. I'm like, oh, you missed this, you idiot. You just totally changed the outcome of the game. And I had a much worse setup and I had no editing, so all the pauses and the ums and the whatever, I can edit most of those out. You're still getting a lot of them, I'm sure, but you get what I'm saying. Things, are much better. And they used to be like 2-hour episodes practically, an hour and a half, 2 hours, hour and 45. Now we're sticking them the landing in about an hour each, and I'm very pleased with that. All right, there you go. Match 2, Rats is your winner. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you had a nice time. Hope you saw something you'd like to add to one of your decks. Maybe drop some comments in there and let me know if you have any cool decks that you think I should look into, any cool commanders you'd like to suggest that I look into building in the future. That would be welcome. And I will see you next time.